Here's another somewhat simple stairway you can build with vertical 2x4s, 2x12s, 2x6 for the decking. You can use 1x4s for the connecting boards. These boards right here will help to keep everything straight. Without them, you might have a board that sticks out towards the front and one that kind of sticks back a little bit, and these things right here will help keep everything together. And you can always use this one right here. I think that I passed up this. You would need another one here too, and you'll see that later on. You could actually get away with something like this, but I'd recommend putting a few more of these boards in there. Run the one at an angle, that would work. I would imagine okay. The 2x4s here will help to prevent the bottom from spreading apart. Another view of it there. 2x6, like I said, on the top with a 1/8 of an inch space in between them. And of course this one here has a gap. This is going to be a little smaller. If you notice, the 2x4s here go all the way to the back of the riser. If you're going to build this in two sections, you'll have to cut or rip this board down, I would imagine, at least 3/4 of an inch if you're just going to build this stairway without the deck. If you are going to build the deck and the stairs together, you can use one solid board on the bottom to connect everything together, and then this should be a 2x4 which would butt up against this one here, and you wouldn't have a gap there in the center. Take a look at the bottom. Pressure treated lumber, something that will not, or something that you hope will not decay as fast as regular lumber. You're going to set it on top of dirt or concrete. Treated wood or some type of treated wood will work a little better than regular construction standard lumber. This ought to give you an idea what I'm talking about. You can just follow the instructions to build this if this is all you need. If you need a deck and a set of stairs, then you can build these two and you should end up with something like this. Again, this one here has the gap in the center of it. Something else I wanted to show you is that sometimes the 2x6, if it spans 3 foot, it might need a board, some type of a joist down the center to make it a little stronger. If that's the case, you can always frame. Don't put the 1x4 at the top. Use 2x6, or maybe even 2x4 would work, but 2x6 would work better, and kind of frame some type of a landing or platform, and this is going to help the span. I think you can span 2x6 up to 2 foot, and of course here this would be 3 foot, so something like this is probably going to work better. And it's also going to provide you with better nailing. You're going to be able to attach the vertical 2x4s to the joist here, and then you'll also be able to install the decking. The decking can then nail to that also. So I hope that makes sense there. This is the way I would do it. Here are the measurements. 2x12 and a 1x6. The bottom riser will need to be ripped down to at least 6 inches if you have a 7.5 inch rise. The other ones will be 7.5 inches. The bottom one is the only one you're going to need to adjust. We have 3 foot wide here. You can make it smaller. I wouldn't make it larger without changing the size of the treads or adding more structural supports to the center of the stairway. Here are the measurements for the basically wall stringer and the wall. You can see here this is 10.5 inches. Something I'd like to point out, and you can end up with a problem over here, is that if I put 3 2x4s together, there's a very good chance I might have 10.75 inches, not 10.5 inches. And I don't think it's going to create a problem because you have a 1 inch overhang on the nosing. Instead of 1 inch, you would have 3/4 inch nosing, which would be fine. But if you want to make sure that it's 10.5 inches and you get the 1 inch nosing, you might actually need to rip one of these boards down. Maybe it's going to be the center board, keep everything looking okay, or the sideboard, whatever it is going to be. A lot of times people want to do stuff in proportion. So if you cut it out of the center board, you know, it might look a little neater, like a racing stripe maybe. I don't know. So now these measurements here, again, same thing. If we lined up a bunch of 2x4s, it's probably going to be 3 foot 2 inches, not 3 foot 1.5 inches. I would recommend, if you are going to build something like this, to maybe cut your pieces, lay them all on a flat section, measure them, and then see if they line up with these. If not, then you'll have to compensate for them. Otherwise, it's not going to work out like this. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2x6s you're going to use for your deck, cut 7 of them, lay them down, put the spacing in between them, and measure it. The wall here, same thing, cut the pieces, lay them down, measure it before you cut the bottom piece or your support pieces. And this right here should be 1 3/4 inches longer than this. So if you lay this out first, make sure that this wall is 1 3/4 inches smaller in width to make up for the 3/4 inch riser and the 1 inch overhang. So anyway, that is it for this video. Let me know if some of these measurements do not work out, and I will be able to change them or pull the video and make another video. So keep in mind, again, these measurements are for precise measurements. 7.5 inch risers. We have a 10.5 inch tread run with a 1 inch overhang, which is 11.5 inches. So if you get lumber that's 11.25 inches, you might have a problem. So, or the measurements for this stuff will need to be adjusted, like I said.